Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel. I am not sure, to be perfectly honest, how productive this video is going to be. But maybe it's instructive anyway, in that it shows you real life crafting. You know that I started working on Christmas journals when I was at my retreat in mid-October. And one of the plans I had was to use a binder. And I think it was this one. So I'd shown it to you. It was a Weight Watchers, binder cookbook. And essentially, it's not like those nice old Better Homes and, was it Better Homes and Gardens? The ones with the checkerboard, with the gingham kind of design on them. So I was working on pages, punching holes, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized, I probably have too many pages. So why don't I try to find another binder so that I can split up what I've already prepared? And then I thought, okay, what am I going to do with the cover? So the first thing I did was use this sponge sander to take off, like to scuff up the shiny finish. Now on one of this one is fine in that I did it here. You can probably see that that much of the shine is gone. So that's fine. On this one, it's got this printed inside, and I sanded that as well. I can't tell which of these now anymore. Anyway, it's almost like a plasticized coat, and it started lifting in one of these corners, but I just proceeded anyway. So anyway, after I got it sanded, I gave it one coat of gesso, thinking that will, in addition to the scuffing, will give it some tooth and let the next thing, the next layer, grab onto it a bit better. I used this old Delta Ceram coat. Who knows how old this is? It's called Bright Red on this one. And you can see it didn't cover particularly well. And it flaked off in places. And of course, it's also flaking where this cover flexes. Now, I'm not concerned about that because that's easy enough to cover up with a piece of lace or fabric or something like that. I did try to, see, look how easily that flakes off. Now, I didn't give it a coat of gel medium because I thought I'm not done yet. And I know back in the day when we had our craft store, if we wanted to do sort of some distressing, you quite often painted a base coat of either, sort of a creamy color or maybe black, and then maybe you put some red on it, and then you sanded it back a bit, and it looked weathered. Now, I didn't know if I was going to do that or not. I still, at this point, really don't know what I'm going to do. On the second cover, I used this, which is Natural Buff. And that has a bit of a yellowish cast to it. So what I was playing around with, and I don't want to put too many more layers of stuff on here, because I think this could be like chasing your tail, in a sense, that are you ever done? So what I did was look through some of my Christmas papers, the 12 by 12s, and I just want to show you some of the things that I'm considering. because what I thought I would do, well, I'm still entertaining options. Smack something down that'll cover this. Okay, so let's just grab one. And I did try to paint along the edges just so I don't have, you know, a contrasted color there that I'm forced to do something with at the end. So something like this could work. Again, I think just for the sake of the flexing that happens when it opens and closes, I would just butt it up to, you know, probably a 1/4 inch back or so from that fold. So try to picture that there. Probably okay. Built-in focal point. Then, of course, the back would be another story. I also have several of these calendar pages. And these are obviously fun. And it's wide enough. If I wanted to keep this quote from the Bible and not cover it up with, what have I got here? Well, this is the wrong color, but okay, pretend this was covering the spine. I'd want to have this offset a bit so that the quote isn't covered. So there is enough distance there, as you can see. So if I stuck it, I mean, obviously flush, but I wouldn't cut this part off. And, you know, that could certainly be a belly band or something else, so it wouldn't be wasted. So there's that. Here's another version that could work. Now these, the reason I didn't cut this one down is because there's a cardinal there. And I thought, well, if need be, I'd fussy cut around them, but I didn't know what I was doing. Anyway, this is pretty well perfect as is. I mean, negligible what I'd have to trim, like just a sliver. And again, if I cut it off sort of at that door jamb, this part wouldn't be covered up and that could work. And you can see that that would be a gorgeous cover. Well, let's keep going. And then there's this one. Same sort of scenario. Don't have to worry about covering any words though, so I could choose whichever side I like more. Trim top and bottom and make that work. Then I also have some that aren't necessarily Christmas, but are winter based. Not quite as good. There isn't a speck of red here, so that doesn't really tie in that well. And then I'm thinking, you know, who knows? Maybe I'll be on such a roll I'll want to do some winter journals. Now this one has some berries, so I guess these little chickadees could work. But again, sort of same scenario. Maybe keep it for winter as opposed to, and of course the cardinal. Keep it wintry as opposed to, keep it Christmas as opposed to wintry. But you can see that that too could be quite nice. And then zhuzh it up a little more and the decorating is done. There's also this one, which came from another calendar, which is gorgeous. But, you know, I'd have to cut quite a bit off. And again, there really isn't enough, the right red to really tie that in. So by a process of elimination, I'm sort of, you know, ruling things out little by little. And of course, once the front is decided, the back will be easier because I can just about do anything back there. Then I was thinking, maybe I should show you some of the just generic Christmas paper. Oh, it came from, well, this isn't much left. It was called Christmas Slab 3 Provo Craft. Oh, 2005. So it's ancient. But there are quite a few, and I just picked sort of the neutrally ones that kind of could work with this buff color. So I'll just expose that bit there, and you can see that that could work without worrying too much. This is another one, almost looks crackly. And the advantage here too is that this is relatively thin paper. 80 pound. This could work, and of course it's so neutral in that you can pretty well do anything you want. Oh, I should also show you, I fussy cut some stuff. So, you know, that could be a decoration. That could be the focal point on something like that. This is rather bigger, but the cover kind of ends there. Show you a few more that could work. Whoopsie. This is even more neutral. Oh, I put some Tic Tacs in my drawer now, so I can maybe pop one and stop this tickle. So that's quite neutral as well, and I mean, it lays the foundation for anything a person wants. Here's another one that reads as pretty generic. Same thing with these pine swags, or well, whatever. I don't even know what that is. I hope this is right side up. Then this one is nice. It looks sort of old-timey. This one is a sort of another color, introducing another color. And I think I'm going to eliminate that one simply because the pages that I have so far are pretty colorful. And this is the same as the first one, except with red text. I kind of like the look of this. So that is sort of where I'm stuck at this point. Now, I also, of course, I think this red one is more problematic. So maybe I'll just put this aside for the moment and bring this one back in. Because of the high contrast as these little nicks and whatever are happening. The other thing I thought I could do is maybe just give it another coat, hope that it covers a little bit more, use something, this is the wrong color of course, but use something on here that would, you know, I have to pick a different image of course because this color isn't right. And just build up a dimensional cover, maybe using corrugated cardboard, you know, layering. Like, the other thing I was considering is using some of the fabric that I have. I showed, no, I don't have the biggest pieces right here. I could show you these. Well, I'm going to, right off the bat, I'm eliminating these two because it's a different red. And I'm kind of hoarding these anyway. But don't tell anybody. Now there's this, you see how I folded this, by the way, after I ironed it? You know, sometimes when we buy these thrifted pieces, they are, you know, they could be almost like pattern pieces have been cut out of them. So they've got all these oddball things jutting out of the sides. Anyway, and I'm not pretending to be Marie Kondo, but this is sort of what I typically do. So in this case, the fabric, as you can see, it's doubled. So then I fold it over roughly in thirds, trying to essentially hide the torn edge, and then bring in the two halves, the two sides, and then fold this over. So it's a nice, neat little bundle from every side. Now, if the piece was a lot smaller, or if the place I was intending to store these, and you'd sort of store them vertically like this, you can see the edges. Suppose there wasn't enough room for all that. You could do kind of one more of these, but that's getting to be a little bit bulky. Anyway, so the other option I considered is maybe the simplest thing, excuse me, would be just to cover the darn thing with fabric. And all I serve to do with all the work I did, the painting and the sanding, is, well, it's sort of for naught, but that's okay. Now, if I wanted it to be a little plusher, I could put some batting or some felt underneath this and give it a little push. So that's another possibility. And then, would still need some sort of a pretty dramatic focal point because of the busyness of that fabric. Oh dear, I feel a sneeze. Excuse me. So, aren't you glad you joined me today? Oh, see what I mean by this weird stuff? So, I don't know. I guess I better walk my walk and not just talk the talk, but walk the walk. And by that I mean make a decision and stick with it. Don't dilly-dally forever, because as it is, I have a lot of possibilities right now. So I would say just the fact that I have talked through this process, it forced me to organize my thoughts somewhat and consider the possibilities, the pros and cons. And I don't necessarily like doing the same thing twice. So I would say I'm going to put this more troublesome one to the side. I'm going to bring this one back into the picture. And I think I'm going to use, well, I am going to use paper. Maybe what I can do, and in that pack, because it was brand new, there are 3 sheets of every pattern. So I certainly have enough to do whatever I want to do here. Maybe just to shake things up a bit, though, I should use 2 different papers. And if I stick with sort of this creamy color scheme, I can use muslin or something for the spine. Now, I automatically gravitate to the red, which makes me think I should be using the green, because isn't it all about comfort zones? I don't really like this paper, to be honest. So maybe this one is a better one to use in collage or something, so we'll eliminate that one. I hope you can kind of get a feel for how this looks. That's kind of neither here nor there. I guess the beauty of using a stripe or a plaid is that you have cutting lines, assuming it's printed square and plumb and true. The downside of using something like that is if something is off kilter, like the book itself is not straight, then that becomes obvious. Okay, I would say it's going to be between these two. I'm going to go with this one. And I am going to, because I will have surplus, both, because the paper is bigger than the cover, I will also have some, whatchamacallit, cutoffs, plus the 2 extra sheets of each pattern that would allow me to cross-pollinate here if I want to. So I could put some of this on the back if necessary, and definitely some of the plaid on the front. So I think what I'm going to do, again, I've got a bit of chipping here, so I think I'm going to have to go flush to the edges and to, of course, you know, measure twice and cut once, that whole philosophy. I think what I'm going to do is lay this, let me just prop that up with something, lay this down with a bit of a buffer, and if I have to cut it off or sand it off or whatever, I prefer doing that than maybe cutting it too short. So maybe I'll just make a mark there and a mark there. That's probably not very straight, but, and I will also just make a mark. Maybe you can't see this, but trust me, I'm just making a mark kind of where this cover folds. So get this cutting thing out of, this mat out of the way, and bring in my, sorry, I have to reach across this square thing, quilting square. And I'm going to just basically cut along those marks. Gives me a bit of wiggle room in case, you know, it goes down a little bit crooked. Goodness knows that could very well happen. Where's my better knife? And cut in the other direction. Now I'm thinking my best bet, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut my back piece as well, because let's experiment with the back first and not the front. So we'll do same scenario with this plaid. So So essentially I'm lining it up with the fold in the cover. Bring it down about, well, it's less than 1/4 of an inch, but so I'll make a mark about there, and about there, and about there, and about there. Yeah, let's practice on the back cover because there are more opportunities to fix any missteps on the front than there would be at the back. Although, of course, there is always a fix. Always. Don't ever let that stop you from tackling something or trying something, because there's always a fix. I was under the misguided notion that binder journals are less work than traditional sewn-in signatures. Yeah, I don't think I buy that anymore. Okie dokie. You know what? Let me just pull in my little bit of plastic tablecloth here. That way, if I get a bit messy, I don't have everything exactly gobbed up. Looks like that, no, not on this side. I was gonna say it looks like the pattern is pretty straight. Ay, ay, ay. Anyway, it'll be a thing of beauty and no one will even notice. So I'm thinking that I have to, I'll extend it a bit past, actually I should pull it, no, I'm going to pull it away a bit from the fold. I suppose if I get it flush on one side, it only means I'd have to trim 2. Or maybe, oh, see, wouldn't it? It might have been good to leave it a bit bigger and run it around the edge. I could add trim or lace, though, if I wanted to. Okay, so if you're ever doing this, think about that. This has a bit of another color here, so either I'm going to have to, when I do something to the inside, I'll have to either run it straight to the edge or paint that or something. So I'm going to use my, and I should probably put it this way since that was the straighter edge, the straighter design. I guess I'm going to use matte medium. Oh, sorry again for the reaching. Yeah, matte medium. This is a little bottle, 8 ounces. And I want a brush. Or do I want a sponge brush? That's what I used to paint with, but maybe I will, I'll use this instead. Changed my mind. I'm going to use this softer brush. It's 1 inch, and I think it will make fewer. Let me make sure we're still in action here. Okay. So I don't think it says to shake it because it'll probably just make bubbles. So rather than dirty something, ugh, or waste something, I will pour this straight on the book. Yeah, straight on the cover. And essentially I'm just running it to the edge. I'm trying not to have it go past because I don't have enough paper to go around. Yeah, so I don't know if I finished that thought or not, but what I was saying is that if you end up doing something like this, and certainly if it was fabric, I would have allowed enough ease to go around the edges and finish them off. I didn't think of it in time for this. So I've got this, you know, oh, why does it stink? Didn't realize it had a smell before. So I've got that smooth as I can get it. That is the side that, oh, none of this is square, so why am I sweating it? Oh, I said I was going to pull it away a bit from the... I think I'd better extend it past, because if I... then I'll have to treat all the sides the same way. Easier said than done, my friends. That's not straight. Couldn't I have picked the ivy and not worried about the straightness of the plaid? Maybe if I could see what I was doing, it would help. And I really hope this is... No, it's not going to be straight. Look how it's peeling up the paint. I better stop farting around at this and just... Yeah, this is already... Whoops, that's not what I want. I fooled around so long that it started drying. So this is the same stuff that some people use for collages. Okay, since I've had to reapply adhesive, I'm going to try my damnedest to get... I hope you can see something. And if I have to trim something at this end, that's okay. It will be it'll be easier to do it there at that end because I'm going to have a fabric covering on the spine or lace. Oh, I was expecting it to snap. I'm glad I did pick a pattern here, though, because I think with the paint lifting, it might have looked, there might have been some unevenness. showing. So this way, gently, Hazel, gently, or you'll soon be having to repair a tear in the paper. And of course, I'm going to fight the urge to trim this right this minute and actually give it a chance to dry. But I do want to just kind of fold it and see if I manage to get it. Okay, that's not perfect, but I can live with that. So what I should probably do is point out this is probably not the best video you're ever going to see on the subject. I'm going to peel this back and I'm going to trim this off before it adheres, even if I go crooked or whatever. It's going to be preferable to me trying to trim this after the fact, after it's dried, with a knife and a straight edge, because I can still, yeah, it looks like I'm chewing at it. I get it away from the crease. Now, just for the heck, because my brush is still wet, and with gel medium, you typically do like a top coat as well. So this is just me doing what I'm supposed to do. It will help protect the surface a bit, you know, because after all, it is only paper. Yeah, I'm glad I used this brush. Oh, I got some kind of an air bubble there. And something going on here too. I don't know if I've told this story before or not, but when I was combining this fall, come on, get out of the way. I typically, you know, it's an old combine and not a great sound system or anything, so I pretty well listen to CBC radio the whole time, because that's about all I can get. And, you know, that's sort of the national broadcasting organization, heavily subsidized by the federal government. Object of ridicule, I guess, among some, and admiration from others. Anyway, see programming there that you're never going to see anywhere else. I'm holding this up so I can try to see if I have any dull spots, which means I would have missed a spot. Not that easy with all these lights that I have on. I think that is good for the time being. And if I end up having to do another coat, that'll be fine. Anyway, back to CBC. So, of course, in Canada, we have the carbon tax, which is widely despised and having, financial impact on everyone, individuals and businesses. I wish I had I need something to wrap this brush in since I don't have any water right here. Or do I? Anyway, this guy, I do have water. I have VH sauce. This guy was being interviewed. I think he has, he has a trucking company, and he was talking about the impact of the carbon tax on his business, and said that last, year to date or whatever, or was it last year, he paid an extra $500,000 to the government because, as a direct result of the carbon tax. Sorry, I'm just looking for something now to dab at this brush. I'll wash it better after the video. Anyway, the name of his trucking, this is a convoluted story. The name of his trucking company is Fluke Trucking. And you could tell he was kind of an older guy. And he says, yeah, if it gets there in time, it's a fluke. And I thought, well, isn't that a clever tagline? So this should probably be called Fluke Crafting. If it turns out, it's a fluke. Anyway. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, now I have to sort of be careful not to lift those edges as I'm putzing around here trying to... Oh, so I didn't need to wash that. I'm doing the cover now. Sheesh. If I can find the paper, that is. Did anybody see where the paper went? Oh, Lord. Oh, found it. Okay, so even with this, we kind of want it to be square and true because it is text. So, yeah. I didn't need to wash the brush. Yeah, Fluke Crafting. I hope that you are well. I hope that you're crafting your little hearts out. It's interesting. Every chance I get, I read your comments, I reply to your comments, I comment on videos that I've watched, and now that I know where to look for responses, sometimes it becomes a multi-part conversation. Anyway, I really have a lot of admiration for people who are who are crafting with some sort of, not disadvantage, but basically, a challenge of some sort. So for instance, one of my subscribers is a young mother. And honestly, I can't really imagine how that works. Like, when you've got a babe in arms and other children who are, kids, they're so needy. They want to eat. They want clothing. They want you know, a warm, dry, safe place to sleep. So I think sometimes people have, you know, either the normal aging process or other, you know, more serious health issues. And so anybody who is doing this against any kind of, you know, additional challenges or odds, well, kudos to you guys. I know that there are healing benefits, and certainly living one's authentic life, doing the things that bring one joy are a blessing and a privilege. But I think sometimes some of us take for granted, you know, the blessings that we have and the ideal condition, really, truly ideal conditions that we're working under. You know, I have to say that at this point in my life, I basically do my own thing. I don't answer to anybody. My husband is pretty easygoing. I don't know that he necessarily understands or appreciates what it is that I'm doing, but he's also not interfering. And sometimes, you know, maybe that's the best one can hope for. So, you know, by not cramping my style, that's a gift in itself. Okay, I'm just going to try to angle this a bit so I can look for dull spots or raised areas. It would mean an air bubble. Okay, I'm leaving the spine alone because we know that if it's handled incorrectly, it causes nothing but grief. I'll just quickly get this brush sort of rinsed off. I will let this dry overnight before I even think about trimming the edges. Now that I have selected papers, I will, I will have a better idea of what I need in the way of fabric for the spine. And I guess since there's no sewing in of signatures, that could even be done next. I don't need to wait for that. Okay, I feel a little bit better now having that. Now, is this the one? Okay, yeah, this is the one that is white on the inside. So I'll probably end up putting a Christmas paper of some kind on the inside as well. And I'll probably butt it up to the edge because, again, I've got some color differences happening here. I mean, this blue is a bit of an issue here. And then, you know, whatever decoration needs to happen, whether it's pockets or tucks or something like that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to stop there because now it's drying time. And I guess the next time I see you, I will have made a decision about the red journal, the red binder. I'm leaning towards this fabric, so perhaps that is what will happen. That way I don't have to worry anymore about the nicks and the words coming through. Anyway, okay, thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. You are not going to believe it. Now, I don't know which one you'll see first. Let me just look at my schedule here. On oh, would help if I was looking at the right month, for heaven's sakes. On Halloween, so October 31st, which in my case is tomorrow, I'm finally doing the announcement about the 500 plus subscriber giveaway. So this will probably be scheduled for the day after that. I don't think I have anything going there. Anyway, squirrel. The reason I brought up the subscribing, of course, is because that, of course, is one of the eligibility criterion for entering the contest, the giveaway. So by all means, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe so that you have a chance to win a pretty nice prize. I do go into some detail showing what the prize will be. So anyway, hopefully you decide it's worth your while. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.